I've been wanting to share some experiences myself and my family have had, dating all the way back to the mid-1990s. For quick context, I am the oldest of 4 sons and we all grew up in this house. It's a small, 3-bedroom home in a quiet subdivision surrounded by wilderness. My parents bought it in 1982 and still live there today. I come from a superstitious and some would call sensitive family. Most of seem to be in tune with our extrasensory perception. In no ways do I consider myself to be a psychic or someone with extremely good precognition or clairvoyance, but I do feel like I have been aware of unexplainable presences or feelings. Now let's get into the story. My mother explained to me that before she became pregnant with me, she never really noticed any strange or paranormal occurrences at home. When my mom got pregnant, she said things changed. At this point, she started feeling a presence while at home. My father's work at the time had him gone for a week at a time, and my mom found herself feeling lonely and overthinking. At night while trying to sleep, she felt like someone was in the room with her. She said it wasn't an ominous or negative energy, but the opposite. As her pregnancy continued, small objects started vanishing and showing back up. She bought wind-up toys and toys that were activated by buttons. She placed them up in a shelf in a closet. They ended up on the closet floor, activated and playing. She says she saw a female figure move from one room to another in the upstairs halls. At that point, she wanted to understand why the house had all these paranormal energy. But the house was newly built, not even 20 years old at the time. The previous owner was a single parent, but she never knew the age or gender or the children. My mom started having complications with her pregnancy, and I was born 9 weeks premature. I spent the first 6 months of my life in the hospital, dealing with issue after issue. But I managed to pull though. I know this isn't related to the paranormal, but it's important context to later events and theories. There was a time when I was a few months old when a pair of hats my mother and great-grandmother wore to a wedding somehow got moved from the attic storage into my mom's closet. It spooked my mom momentarily, but by then she had come to terms that she was sharing space with some sort of friendly spirit/ghost/presence. These things didn't bother her too much. But besides that, not much else happened. One of the strangest, but powerful things that happened in my childhood home took place when I was still very young. You see, even though I was 8 months old, I still couldn't roll myself over very well or sit up. Embarrassing? Sure, but what could I do? I was just a baby. Anyways, my mom was home alone again with me. She put me down for a nap, and went to lay down in her bedroom across the hall. She was quite tired, so sleep took over quickly. She says that she had a vivid dream. She was in some sort of white room. It was bright. She was sort of standing in place. She felt someone enter the space with her. It was a welcoming presence. One she felt before. But a more ominous feeling showed up. Like impending doom. Or that feeling when you just know something isn't right. And then she heard the voice of a girl. It told her, "The baby. It's the baby." The voice repeated itself as she jolted awake. She sensed something was wrong. She rushed across the hall, which luckily it was only a mere 7 feet or so into my bedroom. I somehow had myself face down in the crib's mattress. I must have decided it was time to move myself around, but I was clearly unable to push my face out of the mattress. Ask my mum this story now, and she'll tell you with great detail how real the dream felt and how scary it all was. As I got older, I was told around 3 or 4 I started chatting to an imaginary friend. I would spend a lot of time sitting up in my room, stationed on my floor with all sorts of toys. I would be having full-on conversations apparently with no one. When my parents asked me who I was talking to, I told them her name was Tara. I told them she was a little girl a bit older than me. I said she was nice. I didn't let this up for years, I've been told. I can remember understanding at young age, maybe 8 or 9, that our house had spirits in it. But I was raised and told that they were harmless, that they were just here with us. And I felt it too. I didn't mind it, honestly it didn't scare me. What scared me instead was sudden loud noises and movies about vampires. Fast forward to my teenage years now. I was sleeping on a Friday night. Across from my bed was a large dresser, and pushed beside was a longer, but shorter dresser. It was tall and sturdy enough that a young person could hop up on it and sit. I remember coming out of a strange dream, and I started to wake up. I opened my eyes, and they were met with someone else's gaze. It was a young girl. Dark hair, clothes that looked like they were from the decades prior. She was sat up on my dresser, looking at me. I jumped out of skin because honestly, who expects that? Now was she scary looking? No, I believe it was Tara. I've seen her a few other times, or possibly another female spirit. I come home to visit my parents, and at times I get the same intense feeling. It's very hard to explain. It's just like I know that one of these spirits are around, and they're welcoming me back. I'll walk into the house, especially if I'm the first to arrive home, and the whole feel of my surroundings change. It's hard to explain. But I have come to learn it's the type of feeling I get when Tara must be around. When I'm spending time alone at the house, especially downstairs in the basement, I'll see a dark, female figure move across the back of the room, the shape of the body reflecting off the glass paneling of my parents' bar. It'll move into the laundry room and disappear. I've seen it in reflections of windows upstairs, standing in various spots around the home. As if they are just sharing space with me. As if they are just trying to say hi. I'm older now, I just turned 30. But in all the apartments I've lived in, I've had paranormal experiences. Nothing horrifying, thank goodness, but I always seem to have something happen. And I'm okay with it. Maybe I'll share some of those moments another time. I would be lying to you if I tried to make my story sound like some horrid, poltergeist haunting with objects thrown and evil lurking around. but I truly believe not all aspects of the paranormal are spooky and scary. Sometimes they are strange at times, but they're wholesome. The experiences can be enlightening. That maybe we do share our lives with others who have passed on, who just want to make themselves know from time to time. Maybe to watch over us. Who knows? It's all complex, but I do believe that I have had ghosts follow me around all my life. The house I grew up in, the same one that my parents and one of my brothers live in to this day, is very active with benevolent spirits. I feel like sharing experiences with non-threatening entities is just as important as all the tales of demons and poltergeist, scary tall figures standing in doorways, and negative experiences in a home. Now let's dive into some encounters and experiences. For some quick context, I grew up sharing a house with two female spirits. I felt their energy, had encounters, and still notice them lingering around when I got to visit my parents to this day. You can read the origins of Tara and other experiences here. https://www.reddit.com/r/ghostsstories/s/qw25mwxemg. One of the most intense encounters happened back in 2007. I was 13, my brother was 12, and the twins were 7. It was a humid day, with thunderstorm warnings and dark skies. I remember it being late summer, and the whole week prior was thunderstorm after thunderstorm. The storms knocked the power out, leaving the house dimly lit by candles and flashlights. My parents were in the garage, trying to get our generator to start so my mum could at least have a cup of tea by boiling water in the kettle. Us kids of course wanted to be able to charge our Nintendo DS's, since that was our obsession like many kids growing up in the mid-2000s. I was sitting in the basement with my brothers. We were all sitting on the sectional, waiting for the power to come back on. Our DS's were all drained of power, and we were unsure what to do. My brother Chad mentioned to me that he wanted to grab something from up in our bedroom we shared, but didn't want to go up alone. I remember saying something along the lines of, "I'm sorry, you can't go up there by yourself." Chad stared at me intensely. "I could, but I want you to come." I knew he was afraid of the dark, so I didn't bother to question him anymore. So we climbed the stairs from the basement, walked through the tiled hallway that connects to the kitchen, and then turned left to face the stairs going to the second floor. It was only 10 or so steps, not a very steep or strenuous climb to make. There was just pitch black in front of us. A deep, foreboding feeling was running through me. I always felt in tune with my intuitions and try my best to listen to them. But things suddenly happened before I could do anything else. With our flashlights still pointing up the stairs, lighting flashed and illuminated the hallway. If you standing where my brother and I were, you would see a hallway at the top of stairs, which only went about 12 feet or so forward until you would run into the door to a linen closet. Standing in front of that linen closet at the end of the hallway was a woman. The brightness of the lightning almost hurt my eyes, yet I could still make out this woman standing upstairs. She was wearing a long skirt, and a button-up shirt. I couldn't place an exact time period to the clothes, and still can't to this day. I just know. It was from years, even decades prior to 2007. This figure was not facing us. She was staring off to the left of the hall, towards my other brother's room. I can remember this intense feeling of fear. Now, I think that was because we had no idea an apparition of a woman would appear before us, not because the spirit was evil. After what felt like a minute, Chad and I bolted towards the living room, hopping onto the couch. We sat there, wide-eyed and probably staring into nothing, trying to piece together what we just saw. Luckily, nothing paranormal or strange happened for the rest of the evening. We went back downstairs and played our Nintendo Wii, hoping to forget what we say. But I remember wondering who that apparition was. It couldn't be Tara, she was much younger. From then on, I realized it wasn't just Tara in our home. This woman would make more appearances in the future. Luckily she would be friendly in those situations.